About a week before baby Matsu came home, I decided I couldn't wait any longer. I had to start shopping for raw meats and seafood so I can prep out his first homemade raw meals. I was so excited. I went to at least 3 different stores and bought as many raw parts as I could find. I got home, laid everything out, and suddenly I felt the overwhelm. I had a pretty good idea on how to portion everything out, but I still wasn't sure I was balancing right. I also felt like I got a lot of meat, bone, organ, and seafood, but how many meals could I make from this? Well, after I got to meal 7, I ran out of muscle meats and meaty bones. And you know how long it took me to make these 7 little meals? Over an hour. I couldn't believe how long it took me, and it was frustrating to see everything that I bought get used up so fast. I had so many questions going on in my head. How much meat should I buy each prep? Should I buy the same animal parts next time or switch it up? Should I make a recipe before or after shopping? Well, it's now been a little over 4 years since baby Matsu came home, and over this time, I've gained a lot of insight and experience. So if you're feeling the same way I did, this video is for you. The first thing I do is think about what animal parts and proteins that Matsu ate the last few weeks. To me, it's very important to rotate between different parts, proteins, and whole foods, so whenever I can, I do. For example, if Matsu had a meal of chicken, pork, and beef parts the last few weeks, I'd try to do something like turkey, lamb, and duck parts the next time. And if the last meal prep had necks as the meaty bone, I would feed wings the next time, and so on. I also think about what nutrients I had to supplement during his past prep as well. For example, if I gave a manganese supplement last week, I'd like to try and find green tripe or mussels this prep, since these are whole foods that provide manganese. Now, if what I talk about in this video is going way over your head, it's best to start learning what foods actually need to be fed in a raw diet and why. I'll talk more on that in a bit. Anyway, after I think about what he ate during his last prep, next I would think about what parts I can realistically find in my area. Since I have a general idea of what I can find around me, this is pretty easy. But if I didn't, I would search for different butchers, international markets, and grocery stores and note down the different organ meats, meaty bones, muscle meats, shellfish, and fish that I could find. Now, this next part is crucial. Before I go shopping, I also make a note of what I still have left over in my freezer. For instance, if I have a lot of kidney left over from a few weeks before, it would be silly to go out and buy more. I also don't want to overfill my freezer, so once I have a good idea of what parts I have and what parts I need to buy, there are 2 options. Either make a balanced recipe before shopping, or go shopping, see what I can find, then make the recipe once I get back. Both have their pros and cons. Making the recipe before I shop is more precise, and I know exactly how much of each item I need to buy, but I'm also forced to find specific meats. What if they're sold out? On the other hand, making the recipe after I go to the store gives me a lot more freedom when shopping. But I will have to guess how much of each part I'll need for that 2-week prep. After shopping and creating the recipe, it's time to prep. I usually prep out 1 to 2 weeks at a time because not only do I like to switch things up every few weeks, I also don't have the freezer space to buy in bulk. Now, if you're still feeling a little overwhelmed with making recipes, watch this video. And if you need some insight on meal prepping, watch this video.